There we go. All right. So today we are going to talk solving inequalities. You're like, wait a minute. We did some of those yesterday. I thought we did those with our two-step equations. We did, but now we're going to put some pieces in with it. So, and they're going to be a little bit, I'm not going to say trickier, but there's a couple more things we're going to need to watch out for. So here in the notes, when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, okay, and we're going to add a little something to this. When you do that to both sides, it doesn't just mean every time you see a negative you start flipping things. You flip the inequality symbol. You're like, okay, wait, what? Okay. Just like we were doing yesterday, my number one goal is to get my variable term by itself. Whatever is not in the box, at least the way I do it, is to go away. And so we talked about yesterday how add and subtract are opposites. Multiply and divide are opposites. So, I see minus 15 here. I want to do the opposite. So I add 15. And again, you need to show steps as you go. That's why I've got these on here. You're going to want to follow the way I'm doing it because otherwise there's things that can make this very confusing. I know you had some middle school teachers that tried to teach like divide and multiply underneath. That's not a good idea at all. Now, this one I do admit can be tricky because you're like, well, now wait a minute. Is this one minus and I should plus? Or, since the negative 5 is over there, is this multiply and I should divide? Which one is it? What's my last step to get x alone on this one? You got a 50-50 shot. This again is my non-talkative group. So this is multiply. So the opposite of multiply is to divide. Here is what we were talking about here. Ding, 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 stars, stars, confetti if I had it, but I don't. If you divide both sides by a negative, and that's what we're doing here, you flip the inequality arrow, and it goes the other way. But to this today, we're going to add a piece. We're going to graph this. So, when we graph, you need at least 3 numbers on your number line because I want to make sure we're understanding our number sense. So here's how this works. You put the number of your answer in the middle. Then to get your other 2 points, you minus 1 to the left, and you plus 1 to the right. And if you're not sure what that would be, again, you have, oops, that's not what I need. You have a calculator, -6 minus 1. Use it. -6 plus 1. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And so once I have that, how does the graphing part work? Okay. If you need an additional refresher, I'm going to give you one here in a minute, but there's also one actually in your packet already. You're like, really? Back on the front page, okay, the inequality symbols and meanings are there. The one thing I would tell you to do on that front page is to put X's with all of them. Because the thing when you're working with an inequality is going to be, if the arrow is pointing at x, you're going to be going to the left. If the arrow is eating x, like it's hungry, it's wanting to become greater, larger, it's going to go to the right. And then we'll get into discussing this whole open circle, closed circle thing as we go as well. It's basically, if there's no line under your arrow, it's an open circle. And if there is a line under, meaning or equal to, we keep it closed. So, with that in mind, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming here on page 3. And say, okay, so, first thing I notice is it's an or equal to. There's a line underneath. So I know it's going to be a closed circle. And as long as x is on the left, the arrow is pointing at x. It's like, x, you are less than I am. Less than goes left. And we're done. So, as we do these, it's just kind of getting used to doing steps in a process. And then it kind of simplifies things down. So again, here, find where your x term is. Box it in. Tell yourself, okay, whatever's outside the box, it's my opposite. Opposite of plus. Now remember, fractions are dividing. This is this. So when you're doing an opposite, the opposite of divide is to multiply. And this is where some of you, when I was kind of walking around yesterday, I don't want to put times 4 times 4. You're not going to see the visual and you're going to want to multiply other stuff. Over here, that -4's whole job is to cancel this. We ain't gonna pass that way, people. Not gonna. 3 times -4 is -12. We're done. We're done. So I've got my inequality. When I go to my graph, again, uh-oh. Already did a boo-boo already. What did I do? Where did I mess up? Because I did mess up. Nobody knows where I messed up. I multiplied both sides by a negative. We've got to flip the arrow. Dang, I need people to catch me every once in a while when I have stuff like that happen. So again, -1 to the left, +1 to the right. And I start looking, I'm like, okay, lines underneath, fill that circle in. If it didn't have a line underneath, open circle it shall be. Arrow is pointing at x, saying you are less than me. Less than goes left. So that's the one piece that we're kind of adding in today with the inequality part of things. We're making sure that we get that graphing part in. And again, page 1 gives us some help too. The last thing that kind of twists in, again, it can be tricky, but we got a plan, is what if I'm trying to solve and there's a fraction there? Okay, so first job, same first job. Get the term that has the variable alone. Do my opposite. Opposite of plus is minus. Now, here's where Mr. H is going to be different than this. This is an option, okay? I think we keep doing it like we've done the other parts. So, this is me. Whatever number I see on the bottom of my fraction, okay, this time it's a 3. I'm dividing by 3. I'm going to multiply by it. Because again, I don't like fractions. I want them to go away as quickly as I can have them go away. Why did I get so much? Oh, because I don't need to graph. 1v. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Now, technically, 1v is the same as v. Okay, we're done. But if you didn't recognize that, you'd be like, oh, I'm multiplying v by 1. All right, let me get that out of there. Get my answer. I'm good. Again, one piece at a time, one step at a time. Now, when I'm doing with an inequality, does it change anything? No. No. Do my opposite of plus 3. Now, this time I will show you both ways, how you can do it this way or this way, the way we're going to go. And then you can kind of decide which way you think works best for you. So, I like to do it one part at a time. So, I see my fraction. I see there's a 3. So, on this side, the 3's whole job is just to cancel this out. But whatever I do to one side of my equation or my inequality, I have to do to both. And so then, I'm multiplying x by 2. My last step would be to divide. I get that in, and I'm good. Now, you also, and I'll do this every once in a while, I'll split things up and say you have another option. Here's your other option. And again, if you have them both down, you can kind of pick what you like as you go. The first step will be the same, but this will be where it changes. What you also can do, instead of doing 2 steps, if you want to be a one-trick pony here, 1 step and you're done, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. We're going to flip the fraction. If I do that, that all goes away in 1 step. And you're like, yeah, but what do I do over here? Well, you got a couple of options. You can either take the top number times 12, which would be 36, and then divide by 2, or you knew it was coming, 3 divided by 2. I can just straight put it in the calculator, as long as I put my fraction in parentheses, and I get the same answer. You can pick and do it either way and have absolute success with those. Not a bad deal. So, again, keep this out. Don't put it away. It does you no good. Put away. Keep this out. And we're going to be working today on pages 13 and 14, working on some of these. What happens when I've got a negative? How does that work? What's going on with this? And working through some of those.